we need to start again?
No, just tell me why.
Need a donut.
I'm clicking right on it. There we go.
Thank you, guys.
Good evening, America. Welcome. Enigma Code DC podcast, season 2. Can y'all believe that? Season 2, episode 1. We've been off the air for health reasons and just to take a break, and there's so much going on. We had to get back in the studio. We got a lot to talk about. We're not going to be able to cover it all tonight, but we're back in the studio. I got my man, the chef, back up in the building. Woo! Very excited. Been on here several times last season. He knows he's always got a spot if he wants one. And I got my co-host, Disgruntled Guy. Let me tell you about the Disgruntled Guy. He was kind of forced into that position just to be a regular on the show, and then kind of forced even more to be co-host, and seems to be getting more and more relaxed and comfortable with the role. So glad to have y'all back. New season. Let's get it. Need 120 seconds. We're out in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Big Rick Santiago. We need about 120 seconds, and we get right back into it.
So, I know we on sports, right? When are we on sports? Because I got some heat. I got some heat right off the presses.
I was going to do sports third.
Right,
We need to
right
start.
off the presses.
Do we need to start with sports?
Go ahead.
Huh?
This
We got COVID, America since George, the state of America, in sports. What do you want to do first?
I'll say sports. I think the COVID America, the state of America will take a little longer. I think that's a funny feeling it is.
All right.
So
Want to do that second or third?
I want to do that last.
Sports first?
Yeah, we go sports.
You want to go sports, COVID, then
State of America, yeah.
Okay.
Sports, okay.
Yeah, I got this one hot off the
Now
presses.
we have nothing to say, but it's so much to talk about with
Hey,
sports,
listen,
and we're going to have to kind of keep it tight.
this might be the whole 15 minutes right here. I'm telling you, this is.
You got 50 different relevant topics related to sport. Y'all know today's Bobby Bonilla Day?
Dude, is he still getting paid?
Till 2035.
Oh my God. Who wrote that contract?
I don't
I
know,
don't
but
know.
it must be the same one that wrote Dion's. 'Cause
Dion still getting paid?
Dion got paid from us until he signed with the Ravens. and actually, that year, we paid half of his salary. Yeah.
We are back. Let's go. Season 2, episode 1. Let's go. My guy said sports first. Sports. Let's go. What we got, DG?
All right. This one is near and dear to my heart.
Where you taking us? Where you taking us?
And this one's really, really going to hit home. We had a young lady playing in the AAU tournament and contracted COVID-19
Missouri.
in Missouri.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 12 and under, I believe it was. So, with that said, I just got a tweet
Damn.
on my Twitter. This is our 17 and under girls AAU roster for July. Meaning, they're going to play in this tournament.
They're out there.
They're playing.
We knew they were out there, but nobody wanted to say nothing. They're
So-
out there playing. Practicing, playing. They're
No
not checking
mask.
damn temperatures every day. They're not wearing masks on the court.
Wow.
Parents coming and going. Food vendors, friends, referees, girlfriends, boyfriends, little brothers, sisters, cats, dogs. What the hell?
I have a question. With you guys doing the coaching, how much money is generated from the AAU tournament?
Oh my God.
Big time.
Well, then that's your answer.
Big time.
Then that's why they're trying to make it work, I guess.
Big
And
time.
I don't even know if it's the money.
Picture this.
I don't know if it's the money or more or less the potential
Oh.
money of the future.
Okay.
Because you figure you got 16, 15, 14-year-olds playing in tournaments, and where are they going? They're only going up. Their
Correct.
ages are going up. The older you get, the more people want to see you play because your skill level gets better.
Right.
So if you have an AAU platform for, say, for instance, like the kid Mikey Williams.
Yeah. Yep.
This
we
kid-
talked about. Yep.
This kid is legitimately, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Unless he gets washed out by the system.
Let me give
Because
you.
he's gonna
I
play
need
300
30 seconds to give you
something
Mikey
games.
Williams' background. Mikey Williams, I'm assuming, lives out in California. He goes to school with Little Brownie because he did a tour of LeBron's garage.
Okay.
Little Brownie hasn't given a tour of his dad's garage, but Mikey Williams gave a tour of LeBron's garage. Mikey Williams said that he was going to boycott D1 schools and go to HBCU. And everybody was like, man, they said that'll tilt the scales. They said, we
He's
get
that
him
good?
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
But guess what happened? He just had his 16th birthday party. A Corvette showed up at his house, a drop-top Corvette, and he's just signed with Duke at the last second. Duke's always been a tight, upright program. Coincidence or I don't know.
Sounds like he was bald.
They said his parents had money. I don't know.
His parents have money.
Corvette for your 16th birthday, you were heavily leaning toward the HBCU in light of all the stuff that's going on. I'm just
I
getting
don't.
back on it. Go
I
back,
don't
Joe.
think Duke is that stupid to have their hands that tight into something like that. I think that if it is going to happen, it will be something not affiliated with the Duke
They
University.
did it with Zion. They did it with Zion. All kinds of dirt came up with Zion because they knew Zion was a one and done. And like you said, DG, this kid Mikey Williams is most likely going to be a one and done.
He's definitely gonna be a one and done. He's the type of athlete. He's one of them generational guys.
How tall is
He's an Allen
6'6",
Iverson.
6'7",
He's
real slim.
6'1".
Oh, damn.
Really?
For sure.
6'1". Amazing athlete. He's an Allen Iverson
6'1".
type. He can score the basketball any way you want. And
Scored
he-
77 in a high school game.
Yeah, and he dishes the ball like no other.
I never
So,
forgot about him.
Undecided. Was
So it's-
leaning
it's-
towards HBCU.
It's really
Last second signed with Duke.
going to be controversial to see where it goes from there.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to get it out there that AAU is up and running live, and
Well, you,
For the
obviously, if they got the COVID, the girl got the COVID. Yeah.
Well, you said that. Did you send that leak today?
Mhm.
I passed that on to some coaches. A coach hit me back and said, well, he said, you can't be afraid to live your life. He said they could get injured or killed in a car accident on their way to AAU
You know,
tournament.
that's okay.
That's an AAU coach.
Yep.
'Cause
And I said, to which I
Because-
responded, I said, look up the 1918, 1919 Spanish flu and just look at the correlation. That's all I'm saying.
So let me tell you how the AAU system works. The AAU program gets money and funded by
Sponsorship.
shoe companies.
Sponsorship.
Sponsorship. So if I have an AAU company, you're the number one player, you're the number two player.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get both of you guys to play with me. And the only way I'm going to get that is if I have a sponsor that's willing to give you guys whatever you need.
Yep.
So if I have Nike, I call Nike, my Nike rep, and I say, hey, look, I got the number one and the number two guy coming to my 17 and under tryout,
Mhm.
and they're both 15. And they're the number one and number two players in the country right now. We need to get them signed. All right, what do you need?
Yep.
Right.
And that's the hypocrisy of it. The kids get nothing. The kids are filling up the stands, drawing the tournaments, drawing the players in, drawing the big teams, drawing the coach. All they do with the kids is give them some sneakers and sweatsuits and a couple t-shirts. While the coaches are getting broken off under the table. The schools, you steer your kid to a Nike college, you're getting broken off.
Yep.
Everybody's getting blessed except the players who are drawing them in.
Yep. And it's sad that it works out that way, but there are some really good guys in the AAU system that fall to the wayside.
Yes, there is.
And I hate to say it that way and to put it out there that way, but the system itself was flawed because it never had any type of structure.
And
any
that's
type
why
of-
people liked it. It was
it-
run
yeah,
and gun,
It was run and gun.
unstructured. You
It was
damn right.
unstructured,
You
no
damn
rules,
right.
no regulations, and now it's gotten to the point where it's beyond that. You can't. There's no way to regulate.
And they
Because,
took the kids that didn't have grades, that weren't eligible during the season.
yeah,
They got to shine in the
you know,
summer.
it was some programs out here that did right by a lot of kids, and I'm not gonna mention no names because if I start mentioning names, then people will
I
say
know
I'm
my
biased.
son was in it in this area.
Yes, so I'm not gonna mention any names, but it is some AAU coaches out there that I have a lot of respect for, and
Yeah.
some programs that I have a lot of respect for.
And there's some dirt balls.
And there's some dirt balls. And there's some out here that just
right here in this region.
Just live off of what
the kids accomplish.
Yeah, live off of what the kids accomplish and ride that wave all the way through.
Yep.
And there's some guys who genuinely put kids in the best position humanly possible. And I know quite a few that's been put in the best position humanly possible. And some of them are really good friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I even call, brothers and cousins. But, like I said, for me, the AAU process, it needs to slow its roll, pump their brakes a little bit, because this virus is not a joke. It's definitely out there. It's definitely live. And it can be contracted in any kind of way. So for anybody to sit back and say you can be driving down the street and die, or driving up the road and catch it through the wind, yeah, you can. But the chances of you catching it that way are less than the chances of you being in a gym with 200 people and 10 of them on the court.
But here's my thing, though. You cannot pretend that we don't have a pandemic going on. You can't say, let me get back to work. Let me take my kids to the beach. Let me go to the fucking ice cream because I'm sick staying out. Let me play in this tournament. I'm going to play. You can't, it's a fucking pandemic going on.
Well,
and people just don't get it. We're going to touch on that later, but
the pandemic,
you can't just say, forget the pandemic. I'm going to do what I need to do quick, and then we'll come back home and worry about the pandemic.
Well, see, the problem with that is the pandemic is really exposing what we really consider high and dear. We don't even consider our lives high and dear anymore.
No.
So the pandemic is exposing all of our flaws. You mean to tell me that you're so mad that your kids are home with you right now and you would rather them be in school? It just shows you the type of parent you are. If you're just here and you want I need to do something, then you obviously living for other things to validate who you are. It's just showing our weaknesses. That means that we need stuff to feel good about ourselves. We can't sit still, stay home, and look and do something constructive, which is what we've been seeing people do. Like I told you, I'm definitely a result of that. But unfortunately, people are looking the negative part. Oh, I'm bored. Oh, I'm busy. There's so much stuff you can do in your house.
So it makes me think. It makes me have this thought process that no one in this generation could have made it through the 50s, 60s, or 70s.
Hey, I took my daughter's phone for her and she lost her damn mind.
Because
I didn't understand that. And you're right.
If socially we can't adjust to this pandemic, then that is a tragedy. Because
it is.
In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there was no social lives. There was no social media. There was no internet.
No.
There was no direct connection.
It was family. It was board games. It was family.
You sat at home, you ate at the table.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Get creative.
Yeah.
After you finish eating dinner, then you socialize with your family. Yeah. Now, that's the worst thing in the world.
Damn right. You're not even lying. My son just turned 5, and he didn't get it from me. He discovered video games. He went from simple games. I'm telling you, the last month his video games are getting more and more complex. He's on something now. Every time he gets a new score, it sends me a thumbs up or a tweet or 4 stars, and I hit him on FaceTime. I said, "You're on the game." I said, "How you know?" Because I know, because they sent me a thing.
Yeah.
He's 5. He just turned 5.
But is that our fault for not showing him that? Or?
All it's doing is making us socially
The games he's playing now are not the games that I showed him.
That's what it's really doing. It's making us socially inadequate. So now, instead of us having a conversation like we're doing, we have to be on a Zoom or on a video or a FaceTime because we can't. We're so afraid of interacting.
Oh yeah.
It's like everybody lost their crutches and don't know how to walk anymore.
Exactly.
Let me switch gears on the same topic. Let me just turn it in a different direction. Is sports even relevant right now? Baseball's getting ready to start. The owners and the Players Association argued for an extra 4.5 weeks when they could have been playing. But the Manfred, the head of baseball, said it was only going to be 60 games anyway. But that's a lie because it was going to be more than that.
Well, we've talked about this outside of the what we're doing is they're losing money. They don't care about the players. And if anybody sit there and says anything, you are looking at the elephant that's in the room. You're fooling yourself. They're losing money. All of these sports are losing money. The reason why the NFL is not doing anything because they were lucky enough to be finished when all this stuff happened. Baseball is losing money because now they missed out
It
on
was
the
supposed to
All-Star
April,
break,
yep,
and now they're
April,
going into
May,
to the
June,
October
and
and
July,
the World
yes.
Series and the playoffs where
Yes.
where they just make globs of money.
But you know what? 60 games is fine with everybody because unless you're just a diehard baseball fan and you have no life, you watch the beginning of the season,
And you watch the
you
end.
don't watch the middle, and then you jump back in
Well,
and
you
then
watch
right.
the middle for the All-Star game,
Right.
and then you watch the end. That's
it
true.
heats up.
But remember, it's almost July, August. You got college football, which we all know is making the money. You just said it yourself. So with the colleges getting the money and the kids ain't. So now colleges have kind of put their foot in the pot too because now they're losing revenue.
So let's switch gears for half a second, then we got to get ready to go to break. NBA's getting ready to start. They're trying to do a bubble, and no girlfriends, no wives, no kids, no nothing.
That's not good.
Players, refs, trainers, coaches, that's it.
That's not gonna work. Let's be real.
But I mean, you got to get the pizza guys coming in, delivery guys coming in.
So
That ain't gonna work.
it all goes back to one thing. That whole process sounds like an AAU tournament.
It sounds good.
It's a professional AAU tournament.
In a way.
But at the same time, you got a lot of players that's opting out too. It's a lot of players that's opting out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
Look, I don't think the players realize how much power they got in this.
Well, see, that's the other thing they said. They said the NBA, they said those players could make a stand and they could survive without the owners because they're the product. You can't do that in baseball. You can't do that in football.
Yes, you can.
They said in NBA basketball, you could do it.
You can do it in anything because at
But
some
you gotta
point,
be strong, united though.
yeah, at some point, if the masses are on the same page, then it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is when here's the issue with those three sports. You have the NBA guaranteed contracts,
Right.
NBL guaranteed contracts, Football no guarantees.
Right.
Okay, so now what you're telling me is you got a guy who's making $750,000, and you telling him, man, we're not playing this year. Well, how am I supposed to make money? I'm not going to get a check.
Yeah.
You got a $30 million signing bonus. I have nothing. How am I going to get paid?
Yep.
So,
They gonna
if
play.
there was a way, believe me, the NFL Players Association has to step in and somehow, some way, even across the board, give those who are not making that type of money a opportunity to get a check or some type of payout, and then it will be able to happen. But until then, the NFL won't do it.
You mean like a bailout?
Yeah, like a bailout.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
they said I saw today on First Take on ESPN. They said that if the NBA players, most of them said we're not gonna play.
Oh,
You know,
it
whatever.
won't be no season.
It said that the players' contract, what is it, the bargaining?
The collective bargaining.
Yes, that they worked so hard to get, they got it right where they want it. They said it'll collapse. It'll be
Well,
no
then that's-
more.
Here's the thing.
That
Here's the
just
thing.
shows it's about money. They don't care about your well-being.
The collective bargaining agreement won't necessarily collapse. It'll be voided,
Right.
basically. So
Yeah, but they said they got it almost right where they want it.
Here's
They
the
said
thing.
if they don't play, boom.
Here's the thing that they have to understand. This is what they have to understand. Those players hold the keys to everything.
Mm-hmm.
They can go out and say, "I'm not playing."
A lot of them have, but what if a LeBron or Steph Curry
listen,
said,
but
I'm
they-
not playing?
Even that's what I'm saying. If a LeBron came out and said, "I'm not playing,"
And he has a right to do that.
and it's now becoming a trickle down effect
Right.
because you know
Right,
if he says it,
right.
then you got 5 or 6 more
Yep.
gonna come.
Yep.
And if the top tier says they're not playing, the bottom half of that is going to be like, "Nah, we riding out."
They said for health reasons, sick parent, daughter with a weak immune system, whatever,
Mhm.
no problem. No questions asked, no
Yeah.
beat, no static. But one of the top players, who the hell was I can't remember, said he wanted to sit out and work on social justice. And Stephen A went on him. He's like, no. He said, would they paint Black Lives Matter on the stadium, on the floorboards?
Man,
You can wear if you got something to say, make a statement. You can put that on the back of your jersey. They said you gotta play. Your contract is for you to play. Health wise,
Stephen A
different.
said that?
Yeah,
Look,
he said
Stephen A is in the
health-wise
entertainment
against
business,
Kellerman.
man.
Kellerman said, "No, they don't gotta play."
They don't. Stephen A is in the entertainment business. His job is to keep you watching.
I was like, "What?"
So I'm not really listening to him.
yeah, I don't
I'm
put too
not.
much on what he said.
Listen, we gonna stick to the script. We go good talk. We go on to break. We'll be back in a second. Enigma Code DC. You live in the Wolf's Den.
think he's smart because he's using big words that nobody else knows.
We have all kinds of trouble with this music thing. All
Should we
ki-
double click?
there's another thing that you put where I can get you
we
these.
gotta realize something too though. When we
It's not
start
coming up
talking,
with the double click?
Damn. Fight to get that out. That was
when
good.
you start talking
That first segment was good.
commentators get paid for one thing and one
Yeah,
thing
Stephen
only.
A was on the other side of the fence. I was surprised, but Max Kellerman is always. That's why I like Max.
If you don't have ratings, you don't get paid in that business.
Ain't that the truth?
If people don't want to watch you ain't getting paid.
I think Stephen A is the as my boy Greg Payton said on the last dance, the fuck up guy.
Yeah.
Is the what?
The fuck up guy.
Stephen A.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever you got going, he comes in and fuck it up.
yeah, that's what he
it.
is.
I mean, and I'm not mad at him. Listen,
He's good
he
at it.
found this niche.
Yeah, he did.
You know, and a lot of people will hate him for it. But you gotta get paid too.
Let's listen to how he got there. He went to play ball. He obviously wasn't that good.
Yep.
So he became a writer. Let's
Yeah.
just put it out there. Let's put it out there. He wasn't that good. He went to Winston-Salem State, played for Big House Games. He
Yeah.
obviously wasn't that good.
By the way, one of the greatest coaches to ever do it.
I
Big
hated-
House.
I hated playing against him. I
Big
hated
ups.
playing against Winston-Salem State.
Hey, I don't blame you. I wouldn't have wanted to.
And we were in MEAC school. I hated playing. I hated playing.
Oh, how do you feel about this everybody leaving the MEAC?
You know why they leaving the MEAC.
Yeah.
What's
So
up
who was
with
the
that?
first team? Who was the first team to leave the MEAC?
The first was
Ready?
Trivia question for you. Go back and look. Oh, I got something. What? I got you what?
We are back, y'all. We're back.
We're gonna come back to that.
What's
Because I got a
next, y'all?
question.
America since COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
COVID now? Or
Yes.
America since George Floyd passing?
COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that.
Had a guy on. Almost had a guy on. He works with the NIH. He said he cannot come on this show, but he gave me some good advice. He said that the mask is like a hypocrisy.
False sense of
He
security.
said unless you have an N95 mask, it's really not doing nothing. He said that, well, we know that people just say, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, okay? There's guys that are way higher than me pay grade to deal with this health stuff. But I know I'm not taking my kids to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
I'm not taking them to Applebee's, which we love. My kids love Applebee's. I'm not taking them to the beach around a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I'm not taking them to a ball game. I'm not going to say, fuck it, let's unwind and go to this big pool party because everybody's stressed out. Why are people doing this? The numbers was 35,000 last week in one day. That was a record. They broke the record the next day of 45,000 people got it. And now they're saying, Dr. Fauci, who I really respect, he seems to have a grip on this thing, said if we don't get this shit under control quick, he said it could potentially hit 100,000 people per day.
Yeah, I heard that today.
100,000 people per day will push us back into the dark ages. And I've told y'all off air, and I truly believe, because I keep studying, I don't know nothing about this, as we don't. We don't have a cure yet. It's 18 months to a year away from a cure. But I do know that the 1918-1919 Spanish flu took 2 years. There was this for 2 years before the numbers got low enough where people could start to get back to a sense of normalcy, and modern medicine at that time had a little grip and handle what's going on.
Evolved,
So
yeah.
why we keep dropping the ball on this?
We keep dropping the ball because too many people who make policies and rules are not looking at the...
Who? I want names. You talking state? You coming from the top?
I'm coming from
You coming from the
Look,
top?
I'm not going to sit here... I don't know names because like you, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but history and what I've known about things like this, it's always been, and I've said this on your show many times, always been financially driven. So what can they get out of this financially? They're going to ride this pony. They're going to ride it. Unfortunately, lives will be lost. Unfortunately, if I was a doctor of medicine, I want this shit to ride out. Let's be real. Because the longer it rides out, the more I get to work to try to find a cure. And whoever races to get that cure first, it's going to be paid.
Y'all believe in conspiracy theories?
I do, in a way.
I do, but we all know two things. And the first thing is there's no money in a cure.
And there's no money in healthy people.
There's no money in a cure.
Not at all.
Nobody wants to cure anything.
Yeah.
you want to slow it down. You want to find something that you know you can give them a shot. They can still catch it, but it won't be as bad. You know, so there's no money in a real cure. But at the same time, this virus has taken over and changed the whole world as we know it. And for some reason, we're fighting to get back to this sense of what we call normalcy, and is no longer a sense of normalcy. This is our new normal, and we have to understand that this is our new normal. We have to take precautions because it's not going anywhere. Like, it's really not. We trying to open up and say it's going to die down. No, it's not. The more people that come out, the more cases are going to come up.
So let me ask you something. Let me switch back for 1 second. I want you to answer this question and go right back to where we at. Why are we talking about sports then? If what you just said, which I believe, why are we talking about when's baseball going to start? Let's jumpstart basketball. Oh my God, we can't have a life without college football.
Who
when is NFL going
is
to start?
saying that? I'm not saying it. You're not saying it. You're not saying it. She's not saying it. Who's saying it?
People are expecting. I'm not even talking NFL.
So
people are expecting there to be a college football season.
Well, no,
in the
it's
fall.
not that people are expecting.
It goes right back to what I was just saying. That's us trying to get back to that sense of normalcy.
Yeah, normal gone. Normal gone.
We all live on a schedule. The whole world lives on a schedule, whether we like it or not. Everybody lives on this schedule. This is the schedule we live on. Fall is what?
Football season.
Football season.
You know, you're right, brother.
Fall to football.
Everybody does
It's
what
like
on
peanut butter
Sunday.
and jelly.
They watch football.
You shut it down.
Shut it down. Hey.
You shut it down. You cook. You bring friends over.
Yeah.
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 Even if you're not a football fan, you know
shut it
on
down.
Sunday, if you're not a fan, you know on Sunday you can go get your shopping done. You can go get the groceries done. You can go to the mall. Nobody's gonna bother you.
No, you're right.
So we live on a schedule. When basketball season comes around, if you're not a basketball fan, you know on Tuesday night, TNT,
Wednesday night,
the big game.
Yeah, Wednesday night, yes, you're right.
you know, see what I'm saying? So we're
And they stuck a Thursday night game in just to keep it flowing.
Just to
There's
keep it
no
flowing.
reason to have a Thursday night football
So-
game
so
except
now-
just to keep it flowing.
So now,
I'm not
if
arguing.
if I'm not a fan of baseball, right? But my grandfather is, and I'm a young child, just fresh out in the working world. I come across 2 tickets to an Orioles game. My grandfather's is the biggest Orioles fan ever.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? I'm going to take him to a ball game.
Yeah.
Trying to indoctrinate him into.
You see what I'm saying? So it is that's the reason why everybody's pushing for this sports restart. But what they don't understand is you get a sports restart, it's going to be on a schedule that's not the norm.
Yeah.
Because it will not be something that it will be televised, but that's it.
Like baseball starts July something, and the first game I'm very excited about, Yankees, who could have won last year, play against the world champion Nats here. That's a monstrous game. It's not a preseason game. It's an interleague game. That's the first game of the season. Are fans going to be allowed at the game? I don't know.
Fans
Nobody
are
can
going to be
answer the
allowed at the
question.
game. I'm
They're not?
almost positive that game was scheduled before this started.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Because
That
no,
game- that
But
game-
it would have been a preseason game, though.
no, it wouldn't. It would have been a
No,
regular
you don't
season.
start with an interleague
It
game.
would've
It'd have been a first
You
game.
never start with an interleague game the first day of the season.
Think about those 2 teams.
And
You
think
got
about what
the
you
World
just said.
Series champions
And
and
the
the
team that's
legendary
the
Yankees.
favorite
Oh,
to
that
win.
was money coming to this city, Slim. And they were playing here,
And they
right?
probably would have played the back-to-back.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah, if he had 150, yeah.
So they would. Think about the money that's been generated for that. You got the World Series and the legendary Yankees in DC. That's not going to kickstart some money here. Oh hell yeah! Oh
So-
yeah, most definitely. So they're keeping that with the expectation that it's going to happen. But like you said, there's no fans there because you can't have this social gathering.
Yeah, everybody talks about how we're going to do it, but nobody, I don't hear anybody saying, what if it doesn't happen? What if we can't have a college football season this year? What if we can't play the NFL? Because if one player, a scrub like me or you get sick, no big deal. Let a Tom Brady get sick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's the thing with that.
God forbid.
God forbid anybody
Right.
gets,
Right.
but the reality of it is, if we're ignoring it,
something not gonna happen.
you're
Right.
putting yourself in that situation. I'm trying to get back to the topic. I'm looking at the totals for the U.S. and the totals
It's getting out of
worldwide.
control.
The totals at this point, 2.74 million confirmed
Worldwide.
in the U.S.
Oh, really?
But here's the problem, though. We had it under control in May. What happened?
They opened
Recovered?
everything up. They opened beaches and stuff up.
It
We had it
wasn't
under
just the
control in
reopening
May.
of beaches.
The numbers were across the board.
So
It's the problem is the businesses that did open were not enforcing
They weren't.
masks. They weren't enforcing social
Look, it was a bad
So
idea.
Chuck, they
this
weren't
out.
enforcing, and then you got people, you told me in your field, people that come in and say, I'm not putting on a mask.
Uh-huh.
Here, just let me put this up and get what I need.
Yep.
Come on, it's the fucking law. You gotta wear a mask in a public establishment.
If you think people are going to listen to the law, you a special kind of stupid. I'm sorry about that.
And how does
you,
this?
but yeah,
You're
I
a
don't
special
have-
kind of
Listen,
stupid.
how does the mask relate to political affiliation? When did that become a thing?
That's the me and Chuck talk about this. That's the turning point. What they do is they get you so focused on one thing, they switch around to something else. We told you that. It's
It's called
like
the Jedi mind trick,
dude,
man.
like exactly,
I'm waving at you like this.
and going in your pockets. And that's what they do. They
I mean-
have everybody focus on it, and then switched it and
What-
said,
What
you know what?
episode?
COVID is bad, and because COVID is bad, you can't eat strawberries.
Exactly.
What the hell? What does strawberries got to do with the COVID?
Do you remember?
Yeah,
the last episode me and him was on, and we had a conversation about politics and how candidates get reintroduced into
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
and what do we say? It's two things that cause a president to go
my God,
right
he
back
sure
in
did.
office.
I don't ever tell me. I
You
forgot.
remember?
It was a war
Oh
He
yeah,
said-
yep.
and a state of emergency.
He sure did. He sure
We're
did.
gonna touch on
Say
that next subject. Next
Two
He
segment,
sure
yes.
did.
Yes.
That would eliminate
You know,
election. He
us-
sure did. Yes, he did. You're right. I remember that. He
It's-
sure did.
As Americans, we don't do it.
We don't even see it. I think people are scared to look at the elephant in the room. I really do.
And
It's
right.
almost like making us look at ourselves that we have to swallow that pill that we don't like to swallow. We don't care if you swallow it. I don't want to.
I don't want to swallow.
That's
And
what
that's,
it
and
is.
that's, we are an I nation.
Sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's if we weren't an I nation. No offense, we wouldn't have left England. That just proved we were I nation. I hate to say it that way.
Yeah.
We left it. I need to have freedom of speech. I need to have freedom of religion. I need to do this. You don't need to do nothing.
Nothing.
Well, can we agree that this is going to take 2 years?
Me
Oh, it's
personally,
definitely-
I think it's going to take a little more.
We're talking about getting the kids back in school in the fall. Can we agree if you get them back in school in the fall? My daughter's not going to be in school December, January, February. She
My
got a
daughter
weak
graduated.
immune system because her daddy had a weak immune system.
But see, here's the thing with that.
So-
if you're really into the kids' corner like you say you are, you can do the classes from home. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. Now, it will take a little more discipline, but homeschool kids been doing it for years, and last
Yes,
time I
they
checked, haven't they been better off?
Yes, they have. Well, all it is in school
somewhat.
education, all it is, I'm not trying to offend anybody, I love everybody, I love public school education, is preparing for those end of the year exams. To see where are
Yeah,
we
but-
above, are we below,
Right.
are we on, because that's funding, that's more money, that's grant, that's everything. What can we do to prepare for the end of the year exam? This year was a wash, but we couldn't help it. A pandemic kicked in. When we left school, everybody's like, and then people like, oh shit, this is real.
So here's my thing
It
with that.
got real.
So are you teaching for the funding? Because just because you spent $10 billion this year, you may necessarily need to spend $10 million next year. You may only need to spend $9 million. So what are we doing with that $1 million? Instead of putting it into something just in case this happens, because this year you spent 10, next year you may spend 9. Your budget is 9, but then the year after that you may spend 13, which means you need to spend more. So I don't think the management part of that for schooling and the COVID isn't working, because just because you get $1 million every year don't necessarily mean to spend it. I would suggest you save it in case something pops back up like this. That's why when this COVID is kicking around, all of these people with the unemployment and all that stuff are so worried. That's just insurance for the companies.
Yeah.
When it runs out, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
So
So
speaking of the companies, AMC said they can't recover. Kohl's is going under. Macy's is consolidating. The one in Annapolis is shutting down. The one in Bowie stayed open.
TJ
But
Maxx, Home
TJ
Goods, and
Maxx,
Marshalls.
what I love about this is the mom and pop stores
The
and
big
individual
and
businesses are.
tall, the big and tall shut down. Come on, please, please. The big and tall.
But for good? For good?
Casual Mail shut down.
Oh,
Five
XL, yeah, that's right, yeah.
5
Man,
locations.
get your own, man. Get your whole.
But that's what that goes back to what you said.
Well,
Yeah.
Get you a
That's
single-
why-
Get you a rack, one rack in your house, and then go to 2 racks, and then 4, then 8, and into a building. Now's the time.
Selfless plug. That's why I'm rocking the county.
I love it.
That's the black home, black home. I can send you his information. I can tag you in it. I'll put it in the information bar. I'll let you know
Look,
where it's coming
Walmart,
from.
Walmart put mom and pop
Sweatsuits,
businesses
everything.
under.
And now,
Oh.
pops are smacking them up.
Oh.
Yeah. But see,
Fellas, I got a Walmart story that you guys would not believe. My second year in junior college, I was in Independence, Kansas. We had a Food for Less, and we had another regular grocery store. They were right across the street from each other. We had a Kmart right next to the Food for Less.
Crush Kmart.
Within 3 months, all 3 of them
Yep.
were closed.
And Walmart didn't care. You know what I mean? Walmart didn't care.
I'm gonna tell you how they did it. Walmart bought the Kmart,
yeah.
shut it down, built the Walmart. They knocked the building down completely. Built a super Walmart.
Oh, for the grocery store.
Which had grocery stores
Yeah.
and-
Now this was the
Yep.
first time I ever
Yep.
really seen the super. This
Yep.
one,
Because all Walmarts didn't have food. You had to be a super to have food.
You
this
know what?
one
You're right.
is like, this one was like on
It was
steroids.
that big.
Yes. Lie to you not. A month and a half after it opened, the grocery store across the street shut down.
Couldn't compete.
Couldn't compete at all. I mean, they just completely shut down. The Food for Less that was right beside it lasted about another 2 months. Shut them down.
Well,
Took out 3 businesses in less than 3 months.
a silver lining in this pandemic is black-owned businesses, individual businesses, and mom and pop stores are springing up.
Yeah.
So if you want to get on the way,
Hey,
now's the time.
I told you.
Start from home.
My
and get
business
inventory,
is
move
really
to a
taking off.
location.
Yeah,
Yes.
my business taking off because of that.
Yeah, some
And I-
people have been
yeah.
blessed by the pandemic.
I have been. I've been very blessed.
Good stopping point. We got to go to commercial break. Segment 2 in the books. Enigma Code DC. We'll be right back. 2 minutes. That was good. That was good, y'all.
Them Walmart's getting crazy though.
Oh.
Walmart.
Yeah, but I'm saying the little hardware stores, they popping up.
I
They got
had
products.
Oh, this little one on the island does amazing.
I seen that one. I was looking at it like
It's a little mom and pop. It has every little thing you could
Yep.
possibly think you need.
soil tools.
Stuff
shit.
from 20 years ago you can find in
and
there.
they shut down the what is it called? Ace.
Ace Hardware went under.
Oh!
I forgot about the Ace.
Sundays.
Oh!
They shut Ace down.
Gone.
There was 20 big ones that went under.
My daddy worked
Man,
for
20
hey,
big ones.
Let me
Kohl's,
tell you something.
Macy's,
That
some
Walmart,
big ones.
that
AMC.
Walmart, I called it, because, from being from the city, you never seen a Walmart. We didn't have Walmart here at that time. Before I'm old. So we didn't have a Walmart.
Oh, I remember.
So I'm seeing this, and I'm like, at this time, I'm not realizing what's really happening. It hit me later on in life. But when it hit me, I was like, God, they shut down 3 legitimate businesses in less than 3 months. I gotta find out what that other grocery store name was.
In Kansas?
Yeah,
Piggly Wiggly, what
No,
else?
that's
Piggly
down
Wiggly.
south.
No,
That's
that's
down
south.
south. That's down south.
That's all. You know all them damn stores out there.
You got was it Vons, Publix, something like that?
it wasn't Vons, it wasn't Publix. It was
Albertsons.
Not Lino. What's the name of that one? Got a funny name. Kroger's.
Kroger.
Oh, Kroger.
There's
Yeah.
the
Kroger,
Food
Food
Lion.
Lion. Food Lion
Right
down
down
south.
south. Yeah.
Food Lion.
Milo was down south.
It's another one.
Down south.
It is. It's a big
Down south
one.
it was Food Lion, Bilo went out of business. If you had money, you went to Harris Teeter.
Was it something Lee, Von Lee, or something like that? Something Lee?
You know what y'all briefly touched on? It's something I've talked about with a couple of friends. Is hearing some of the parents complaining about having to spend all this time with their kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? So why don't you get back to it? Why don't you take away the Wi-Fi for a day or a few hours evening?
My
Sit down and play some
daughter's
board
hilarious.
games. Watch a
Dillard.
movie together.
Dillard.
Dillard, yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
forgot about Billy.
Yes.
Instead of complaining about having to spend quality time with your kids. They're like, well, just
Oh, my daughter's
sticking them in the
hilarious.
room and letting them play, you know.
I had to take my daughter's
Xbox.
phone from her when we was in the car going down to see my mother. And she got mad. I said, you don't put that phone down. And the sad thing is I had to take the phone from my wife.
I've seen videos of kids going into
that shit
full-blown mental meltdowns from having their phone taken.
Well,
Over
after,
that phone?
Yes.
well, after my kid get off the
My
floor,
child, I was 35 years old before I got my first cell phone.
I'm gonna say it again. After my child got off the floor making that noise, talking about
You
I
got a
need my
problem.
phone, I would be like this. Here's your phone, cut off. I need my phone back on. Oh, you want to act the ass? You gonna pay for it. But I'm lucky. My daughter isn't that bad. My daughter's not bad. I just didn't realize, you know, a day for us is you got to get on the phone and hope that somebody wasn't on when you called because the line was busy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, man, this
It's so, but again, usually, that's what I said. Is it us?
nah,
Convenience?
5,
it's definitely not us.
4, 3, 2.
We are back. Segment 3. We're somewhat sticking to the script a little bit tonight. I like it. Segment 3. America since George Floyd's passing. We were off air when that happened. There was a lot of other murders that happened right around the same time. May, June was terrible. George Floyd wasn't the first. He won't be the last. But what I tell people is he lit the torch, and his untimely death has caused people like myself and others to carry the torch. And this is not a black thing. This is a black-white. This is a everybody, everything thing. And we are talking about it, and people are dealing with it, and stuff has come up that's been suppressed for years and swept under the rug. They're changing flags, renaming buildings, and people, oh, that's just history. Just leave it alone. Y'all people want to change everything. Yes, we do. Because by leaving those Confederate flags and these Confederate statues and these people that were clearly had money that were racist, like the owner of the Redskins and this and that, you are saying that, yes, black people, we know you are here, but you are a second-class citizen. Yes, you have high-interest loans. Yes, you have high-interest mortgages, high-interest car loans. Yes, you are a second-class citizen. That's what we are saying. Deal with it. And that shit is not going to fly in 2020.
Well, it's not.
Thoughts?
It's
Gentlemen?
not. Well, unfortunately, there are always going to be them people that think that way.
Yes, they are. But they went from a silent
But see,
majority.
it was silent because they felt as though they needed to be silent. For some reason, the last couple of years, they got so much courage to say what the hell they want to say now.
They're really saying it now, but
Because, again, they don't feel like their words value a response, or it doesn't value not really a response. What do you call it? When something happens, I'm brain fart. I'm thinking about it right now. It's not a coincidence, a consequence.
Yeah.
They're not thinking of the consequences from their actions because, unfortunately, and I had to really think about this. It's not really a white entitlement, or what do they say it is?
Privileged.
White privilege. It's not, because a privilege, unfortunately, doesn't have a color. Because you and I both know there's some people, black or white, that think they have this privilege. So I wouldn't say it's a white privilege, but what I will say that's definitely been shown a lot is a social privilege, rich versus poor, male versus female, young versus old. I wouldn't necessarily
and that's
can't
what
see
nobody
black.
talks about.
Yeah,
Because these Confederate flags and Confederate statues and these people that were racist, segregationists, whatever back in the day, you're fighting, well, that's just Woodrow Wilson Bridge, Woodrow Wilson High School. Yeah, they were there, just history, just leave it.
Okay.
If you were white and didn't have money, they didn't care about you.
Well, we know that, and that's been proven. So
what do you care?
here's my
That
argument
we-
with this. If you love that statue so much, let us put up a Malcolm X statue. Let us put up a Martin Luther King statue. Let us put up a Colin Kaepernick statue. Then you will see, well, oh, that doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't make sense
That's
because
a good point.
because you are seeing an image of something else. It doesn't fit the image that you see. So my
That's a
thing
good
is,
point.
yeah,
That's a good point.
if you want that, let's do it. Just allow me to do the same. And if you don't allow me to do the same, then guess what? You're part of that problem.
So I'll go at this in a different light.
That's a good point.
I'll go at it in a different light. If we sit back and we look on what our country was truly founded on, and where we came from, and what was the true foundation of our country, we were brought here. I'm talking, and when I say we, I mean Americans. I'm not talking black or white.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a color.
Originally, when people came to the Americas, there was no such thing as black and white.
Surely wasn't.
You know, you were either of African descent, or you were British, or you were
Native American.
Yeah, Native American. You were Scottish.
Oh,
there
and
was
you know
no
the
such thing.
other genocide, they were Chinese. Everybody forget that.
Yes,
They built the
yes.
railroads.
So there was no real white black.
Well, it wasn't, and that's been proven by our melting pot.
That was created to divide.
Of course.
It was created
Of
to
course.
divide, and it was created by a group that wanted power over other groups. So that's how it originated. But we came here on the premise of people being put out, shunned out.
Those people
Now,
need to
mind you, those people who originally came over, I'm talking about Europeans. Some of those Europeans that originally came over here were slaves themselves. And that's what people don't
Sure
understand.
did. Indentured servants. Sure did.
Yeah,
It was usually
so-
a 7-year
so-
deal. And they were usually criminals.
So-
They went to Australia or they came to America.
Yeah.
Australia, they were
Australia,
staying.
where Australia was the
Worst of the worst.
the penal crowd from the
Yes,
I knew
yes.
that. Yeah.
And it was a
It's
good
from-
point, DG. It was a 7-year deal, and then you.
You're free.
Well, sometimes it was a little long. So it all depended on what the agreement was in the beginning.
You damn right.
And
I forgot.
I
About
mean,
that.
listen, I am pro-black to the day I die. I'm going to fight for the rights of all black people. But what I have to understand, and what other people have to understand, is we are all human beings. It's no difference between you, me, and one of my best friends that's in Minneapolis, who's a police officer, and just happened not to be black. There's no difference.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We're all human beings.
So, Rufinus, what's your quote that you said you wanted to put on a T-shirt?
Don't say it unless you want somebody to steal it.
It's been everybody who keeps bringing up when Black Lives Matter comes up, I'll hear people say, "Don't all lives matter?" And I always say, all lives can't matter until all lives actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I like that.
that's true. The problem with that is, and this is where I get a lot of argument from. Race was a word introduced, like you said, for separation.
Mm-hmm.
You are telling me I'm different from that person because my melanin makes my skin darker? I don't understand that. It's not like we have people from Mars living here. Then we're a different race. We're not a different race. We just, people look at me, because think about it, we're the only people.
Race.
We're the only people on this. We're the only people on this planet.
Only.
We can mate with a white girl, Spanish girl, and it'll still be healthy. A tiger can't mate with a lion and be healthy.
It's not gonna happen.
A zebra can't mate with a horse and it will be healthy. It's just not going to happen. We are the only one that does that. Unfortunately, science has already proven this, that the people who are in charge are the weaker race. And I hate to say it that way, and I had to actually tell a white guy this. Listen, you keep saying I'm weaker than you. Why is it that if you mate with a black woman, the child comes out, as you say, black? Because you're weaker. If you make out with a Spanish person as a white man, the child comes out Spanish. You are naturally the weaker species, and I can't say race, but the weaker species, or in your case, the weaker race. Everybody who mates with a white person, the child comes out more of the other parent, and they don't want to argue that part. What they say is, no, it is, because if that was the case, Steph Curry, who looks white because his grandma was white, or grandfather, I'm not sure who it is, he's light skinned. Y'all keep calling him black. And he's lighter than some of the white guys in the league. Yeah. But my point is, he has black features. But that doesn't mean anything. The point is, they are the weaker race when it comes to physicality. Yeah. But they turn that around as a weakness, which we need to learn how to do. We need to take our weaknesses and make them strength. How is 30% of the country the majority? I can't figure it out. There's a lady, and I swear I cannot remember her name. She has a book, and I cannot remember the name of the book. The Death Barth or Barth Dart or something. And what it's saying is the reason why all of this stuff is happening, abortion and all of that stuff, is because the white people that are considered racist, even though she doesn't use the word, that are considered racist, realize that in 6 to 7 years, they're going to be the minority. They're going to be the minority. They're going to be out.
Black is not the minority in the United States anymore.
No, the minority. The majority is not going to be them. So they're getting ready to lose. So right now, it's that holding on to their life part that they're doing because think about it. How many times has black culture infused with the culture that they consider not black? Spanish and black is mixing with music. White has mixed in with our music. All of this culture that they consider weak has influenced their kids, their grandkids. That's what they're not used to. So now that all of these people have mixed, they're losing the one grip that they had, which is the majority. They don't have that anymore. So they're holding on for dear life to keep it. And it's affecting everybody. Police was not really designed for law and order. It was designed to keep them people in check. Let's just be real about it. And unfortunately, those people who are kept in check, because we're not our grandfathers. Our granddaddies, no sir, no sir. We're not doing that. So an 80-year-old black guy is still a boy in Mississippi. We are like, look, I'm not my granddad. I'm not my other great granddad. I'll kick your ass. They like confrontation. They just don't like to confront confrontation. So think about how many times they feel privileged to just smack somebody in the street and they get mad when the person hit them back. You can't do that. You can't. And now that and I'm not just blacks, the white people, look, man, don't talk about my boy like that. And now that these whites, like they say, on not really on our side, but helping us because they understand. They even told me, I will never understand, but I see the problem and I sympathize. Now you're a target for them. I got friends who are like, I had no idea it was that bad. And now I feel bad because I didn't know. Now that they're being woken up, they're considered a traitor to their party. They're considered traitors. Why? Because he, as you say, helping out a human race. So now he's a problem? That's not cool. And now they have lost the control. And what everybody who controls wants, more control. It's gone. And now they're trying with their life to hold on, and they can't. Because everything they do to us, have you noticed? It's not even blacks. It's everybody else have adapted, overcame it, and made something positive out of it. And that's what they can't afford to have, because then they will lose the power. So it goes back to government.
I really think it all starts in the home, though.
It does.
It starts in the home.
It sure does.
Have you seen little children?
It sure does.
Little kids. Now, there was a video that went around not too long ago. A girl whose daddy works for UPS. And a truck came up, and she thought her daddy was coming home. She's a little white girl, and it was a black delivery driver who came in, and she said, "That's not my daddy." She didn't say because he's black. She says, "He has hair, my daddy doesn't have hair." Little kids don't see color.
They don't. How many times have you seen kids go up and hug each other?
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
No, it starts at home. You gotta.
But remember,
it's definitely a learned behavior.
Oh, 100%.
And it's a generational curse. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And that's what it boils down to. It's a generational curse that's been passed down since the beginning of the modern era.
I'm gonna say longer than that.
Well,
But why did it? Here's my thing.
It's been since the dawn of time
But-
because
but-
even
yeah.
even in the beginning, the what was it? The Romans didn't like the cat, you know. So it's
You're right.
it's been passed down.
Then we
And
went
it's
through the
just turning
Jews.
exactly.
But here's the
So
thing:
it's-
what is the fear factor in all of this that they're scared of? Nobody wants nobody. You don't really want nobody to be afraid of you, but they use the fear as a tactic. Oh, they're going to take your job. Oh, they're going. You know what I mean? It's a fear. What is it that is? What I would love to ask I would love to ask a neo-Nazi Klansman, what is the real one thing you hate about black people?
You might have a chance to do that this year in here.
I would like to know. I wouldn't even get
You
mad.
might have a chance to do it.
And the reason why I would ask him that,
You should be here that night.
and the reason why I ask him that is because I would want him to tell you what is it about that you know makes you think that way. Because I guarantee you, 90% of what he doesn't know is what he heard.
But they've changed their agenda. They don't say that now. Now they're just saying, we're separatists. Just let us do us, and y'all do you.
Okay,
And
and I
That's
say
what
it
they're
again.
gonna say.
and that's
Let me
fine,
do
but-
me,
Mike,
and I don't want to hear nothing from you. If you want us to do you, let me do me. And that's what I said about the statue. If you really want to have a Confederate statue, I'm going to put a Malcolm X statue by all means necessary. And I guarantee you, somebody have a problem with it. But I can't say anything about Stonewall Jackson.
Well,
You know what I mean?
The
Let me
backlash
do it.
I get from that is, yeah, it ain't right, but that was history. We can't
Okay.
rewrite history.
And Malcolm,
why the
and
fuck do we
Malcolm
gotta
X,
look at
but
it?
Malcolm X is not our history.
I get
He
that. but why-
teaches us to
I don't
fight
want to
for
look at it.
ourselves. Okay, I don't
If
want
we
to look at
can't
Stonewall.
erase history, then we can't erase all of the history. So everybody should have their history represented.
Yeah. You know how many people
I'm
looked
just-
at me and went to the African American Museum and like I had no idea. Like they told me, dude, I had no idea.
That's like the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah.
My daughter
Oh
went.
my
It was the
goodness.
most
Oh, that's
amazing
terrible.
experience of her
Oh my
life to
goodness.
see that.
That brought me to tears.
Oh my
But the
goodness.
thing with all of these museums has been doing that you have to admit is definitely a awakening rally point.
It's shedding a lot of light.
Yes, and it's an awakening. It is an awakening. You can say whatever you want to say.
But here,
You can do whatever you want, but it has definitely shed light to a lot of problems that we just said earlier. We do not want to swallow that pill.
and here's
We don't.
here's one thing that I want to kind of say, and it's going to be very controversial. I don't have a problem with white supremacists. I don't have a problem with KKK. I don't have a problem with any of those entities. I have a problem with their actions, not their words and their beliefs, their actions.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, in other words, what's the difference between the KKK and the Black Panthers?
They definitely say the same.
Same beliefs,
They sure do.
same amount of action.
And to a degree, if we're going to be real, let's be real. And to some point, the same amount of violence.
The same amount of violence.
Right.
But what I have a problem with is when us giving the KKK the power over us,
I agree.
or vice versa. That's the issue. If we don't give them the power, they have none. Who cares if you think I'm inferior than you? I'm not. I know I'm not.
Yeah.
I can prove that I'm not. I don't have to prove it in an idiotic, chaotic way.
No, you're right.
You know, I don't have to do it as a barbarian. I don't have to. Because I know up here, that's going to get me somewhere that I don't want to be. So I have to use this as well as this.
But then you consider the angry black man.
Exactly.
Right. Because you're doing exactly what's been done to you. But the ones who have been smart enough to say, well, you know what, I know where this is going. Like you just said, I don't want to go there.
To answer your question, that's the fear. And I learned that from a young lady on, somebody sent me a message. And at the end of her message was, your biggest fear is us not wanting to be equal, but us wanting revenge. That's a fear.
Yeah, but we don't want revenge.
Exactly, but they don't know that.
Right.
And that's a fear, because if we wanted the revenge, imagine what that would look like this day and age.
Well, if history repeats what you just said, they will be out. They'll be out. They will be.
I'm sure a lot of people think that.
But they will be out. And you're
That's
right.
not
You
in
know,
my
that's a good
mind.
point. I never
My
thought
thing
about
is I'm
that.
going to be heard from now on. I'm not thinking, oh, that's just terrible what he did to him. Just, all right, let's pray for him. I'm going to be heard. Every time I see somebody I like from now on, I'm going to
Yeah,
be
but
heard.
you're right. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about
I'm
it.
not saying that I sit back and just let things happen. No, I don't. Because I I am a proud person, but I have to understand that there are more than one ways to go about it.
Yeah.
And for me, I have to learn that I am affecting a large, massive group of people, meaning kids, because I work with them.
Right.
So
Oh,
I
got
have
you.
to teach them the right way. I have to show them. I have to present myself in a way that they understand that this is the way you're supposed to handle certain situations.
So in essence, you're a role model that need to be seen and heard without having to have a basketball in their hand, without having to make a movie. Role models that we should be acknowledging instead of people who scored 70 points one night. And I hear you on that. And we should. The problem with that is, how many times can that person be seen without being ostracized? Or how many times can that person be seen without being attacked?
And that's the issue.
Yeah,
That's the issue we have because we have them on both sides of the fence.
We do. Now, we can't say Black Lives Matter until we say Black Lives Matter.
And
If
that's
we
true.
keep killing each other, how can they? Nobody's
and-
going to
and-
That's what
respect
people
that.
say. Yeah, look what's going on in
You know
Chicago.
what?
Y'all want Black
You
Lives
know
Matter,
what?
but look what's going on in Chicago.
Can you touch briefly on the rioting and the looting? What you're
See,
So-
I can tell you exactly what happened with that. One person said, I'm going to go down there just in case they start looting and I'm going to get something. You know that's what was going through their head. Now, here's another interesting thing about that. When did that happen? That happened on a Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that the primary vote night?
Yep.
And everybody forgot that. All they wanted to do was go down. And the media
Yes.
hyped it up. Oh my gosh, all of this violence. And for some reason, violence attracts people and then went down there to see it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was a peaceful protest. They said it, and they
there
made
been
sure.
Jedi
hundreds of peaceful
Protest.
protests. Yes.
Why couldn't they say that Tuesday night?
Well, here's
Well,
the
they
thing
didn't
with
want
that.
to say that
The
Tuesday
looters,
night,
the looters are this much of the protesters.
but it's everywhere.
So
It's 5%, 2%, 10%.
Not even- it wasn't
You
even
got
that much.
75, 85, 90% doing peaceful protests.
but
Now,
the only
they're gonna
problem
focus.
is
They're gonna
it-
focus on that.
and it took away from the voices that needed to be heard.
Like
So-
you want to protest, you protest by voting, and they took everybody's attention off of that. What they should have did was voted on Tuesday and go and protest on Wednesday.
Yeah,
now I
but-
tell you another thing they
You're
did.
not gonna take away from that platform. You had a couple people protesting, knuckleheads.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Identify whatever.
So look-
The next day, you had all the masses doing the peaceful protest, not harming anybody.
right.
You're not gonna just keep focusing on that. That's young, angry kids that are upset,
not
so they're
necessarily.
lashing out and they're looting.
So I'll give it to
Not
you.
right,
in
but
a-
I understand why they did it.
I'll give it to you in a way you might understand it, and I'm pretty sure you'll understand it. Everybody will understand it. Do you know when we work together, right? In our building, it's only what? That's considered the bad kids. It's about what? Out of 1,300 is probably how many? About 13.
13?
It's about 13 out of 1,300.
That's just the 13 that everybody sees.
That's the 13 that everybody sees.
Oh, once they feel empowered too, they keep it
But
going.
remember, they also
Think about it.
Yeah.
So you got 13 out of 1,300.
that's less than 1%.
Less than 1%. So what do you do with the 13? You suspend them. Right? They come back, they worse. Suspend them again. Now everybody in the county knows who they are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But they don't know the 1,300.
Right.
So if we sit back and we promote and keep filming all these people looting, all we doing is promoting the 13 kids that are bad.
Right.
But you know what else they did, and I didn't realize they manipulated what we see on TV.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that's
Because
a given.
Here's what I mean by that. You don't know, but I used to be a cop, right? So when we had that last one, there's an organization called Anarchy. Their whole premise is to just cause chaos and
You
discontent.
talking Antifa or you talking
No, Anarchy.
And we're gonna have some Antifa guests in the studio.
Anarchy. And their whole mission is just chaos and confusion.
Mhm.
But they wear all black. Remember I said that. So when the TV sees the people, oh my God, those black people over there. They didn't say the face. They said the people wearing black.
Yeah, they were out there during.
But you know what I'm saying? They say
when Trump won
those
the
black
primary.
people. If they were the Klan, we know the Klan. They don't say the white people. They say the Klan. They don't say the anarchy. They say those black people over there.
They
It's
have
not
been
that they didn't.
closely associated with Antifa.
But my point, but you see what I'm saying? They don't say the black people as in the race. And I realized that when you know what? Ain't nobody they talking about us black, but they said black people. It was because they were dressed in black. So the media manipulated people thinking it's black people protest. When the reality was, there were, like you said, 1,300 people down there protesting.
And 13 running into a store.
Right, and they were the people in all black, and they said those black people.
Have you seen some of the videos? Some of those stores that were being rioted and looted were black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
It's always
there was those groups that just didn't care if they were in it
Yeah, they didn't give
what
fuck.
they wanted.
They were angry, they were protesting.
And
like
not one of them was wearing a mask.
I see why they did it. I do not condone it. I do not support it. I see why. I understand they were angry, and that was the way they knew how to lash out. We're gonna lash out. We're gonna destroy something, and we're gonna see if we can get something out of the deal.
And then 2 years later, they're gonna realize why nothing is in their
And
neighborhood.
that's wrong. Yeah, right. Because you only hurt your own. Good stop point. Segment 3. I gotta take a quick 90-second break. We'll come back. Closing thoughts on whatever you want to talk about. Enigma Code DC.
Yeah. I get tired.
Considering how big the protests were in DC, I was so impressed with how peaceful it really was.
It was only
They
peaceful.
showed the one in LA,
They handled
waves
it.
of
It was
people.
amazing.
But it was only peaceful after Tuesday. And I'm trying to get y'all to see that. Tuesday night, all they said was, look how violent they are. And the only reason why they showed peaceful protest was because the CNN dude got arrested. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Remember that guy got arrested, the CNN guy?
I didn't see that one.
No one sees it. It was a black CNN reporter who got arrested because the police told him he needed to go. And he showed his credentials. And he told the people, like the cameraman, to keep going like this. They arrested him. And he was like, you're in the zone. He says, well, that white person from Fox 5 is there. You didn't say nothing to him. I'm telling you.
You'll have to use the bathroom.
Oh, it's terrible. Somehow, we have been described as being angry and black, and they don't understand why. I can't keep smacking you in the face and you don't get mad at it.
Hey, Texas had a group of protesters that went to the Capitol. They said bar lives matter.
Bar lives
They want the
matter.
bars open.
But it just also shows us what our priority is. Your priorities are partying, then no, we're never going to solve anything.
They don't get it. They won't get it till it hits home.
That's what's going to happen to these lawmakers. See, the problem isn't the president, and everybody laughs at me when I say that. The problem isn't Trump. It's those people that's been under him for 30, 40, 50 years still working in the government.
No, the problem's Trump too.
Yeah, those people are not going to change. Because Trump can believe. Those guys aren't.
Yeah.
So that's the real problem, but no one looks at it that way. Look, until we realize that we are all intertwined and which one happens to us is going to happen to the other one, until we honestly realize that, there's not going to be any real progress. It's not going to be any real progress. Stop using the military for your professional and monetary gain. Stop telling me that all military is fun, but you don't give the vets. How many vets have committed suicide? No, I don't want to hear that. That's just your way of avoiding the real problem, which is that you haven't addressed the real problem. You keep saying Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. Do it really matter?
I always say that. All lives don't matter until all lives actually matter.
But here's the thing.
That includes
Why
black
do-
people,
why do I
white
have to say
people,
that?
that includes
Yeah.
LGBTQ people. They matter too.
But why do I have to say Black Lives Matter? I shouldn't have to say that.
You shouldn't have to, but you do, unfortunately.
Just because I'm black doesn't make me less of a person. Just because you're part of the LGBTQ
But I
doesn't
don't
make you
think
less of a
it's
person.
being, like, the majority of the people aren't saying it to say that only black lives, they're saying it because we matter too.
But again, they're switching it around to make it seem like we're just saying it and forgetting everybody else.
Yeah, no, and it's not. It's not. And intelligent enough people understand that.
But remember, Donald Trump's presidency was the only one that said, when you look at the view of the people, uneducated folk, uneducated Americans, and he had like 75% of the vote. I've never seen it.
Ready? 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2.
Segment. Well, we've done with our segments. Closing segments. We'll give y'all a minute each on the platform. Talk about whatever you want. In closing, I'm going with my brother Bubba Wallace. NASCAR and the Confederate flag have been linked like peanut butter and jelly, butter to biscuit, pepperoni on pizza, orange juice and caviar, whatever. They've done a wonderful job. They found a noose in Bubba Wallace's, I was about to say his cell, in his lane, his bin, his pit. Yeah. It was not directed at him because it was already there. It was there since last October, but it's still bullshit because it was a fucking noose, a pull down piece of rope. It doesn't have to be a noose. And of 1,164 stalls, they put Bubba Wallace on that one. So y'all can say what y'all want. F y'all, you're lying. But that one wasn't directly related to him, to my knowledge. I hope and pray. But I'm glad there was the exposure. I love how NASCAR stood behind him. I love how they said, you know what, we're disavowing ourselves from this Confederate flag. It's going to be some backlash, but all the true NASCAR fans are going to stick with it. I'm a NASCAR fan because of this. And before this incident, I know for a fact, because the NASCAR circuit is huge in North Carolina, that they were bringing up the younger ones from the go-karts and stuff, identifying potential drivers to get them in the junior loop to get ready for NASCAR. And they were working with minorities to do that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Right.
So, fantastic job. Shout out to Bubba Wallace. Keep doing what you're doing. Shout out to NASCAR. I love what you're doing. You're going in the right direction. I'm glad that y'all stood behind them. The feds and everybody got involved in this, and it was going to be heavy charges and banned from NASCAR for life had they found dirty play. Do I still think it was something subliminal putting him in that stall with that noose? Yes, I do, but we're moving on past that. He's got my support. I'm a fan of NASCAR. I love what they're doing, and Bubba Wallace, I keep doing what you're doing. You got a tremendous mountain to climb every week that you race, and I am behind that little brother 100%. Y'all, closing thoughts, whatever you want.
My closing thought with this is that I feel as though I think Bubba Wallace thing was not a coincidence. I agree. I still think most of these sports are opening back up and resuming play financially. I really do. I don't think nothing is going to change until everything changes. My personal opinion is that's what I believe. Lawmakers included, they're not immune from this because as long as they allow things to continue, nothing's going to change. And I really believe Donald Trump is not the problem. I honestly believe it's the people who's been there 35, 45, 55 years. Because what they do is they wait until the president leaves and still go back to their agenda. That's already been proven. So I don't think it's him. Is he a smart man? I don't know. And I hope and pray that he's doing something that we don't know about that's better for us. And that's the best I can do for him right now. I hope he really have our whole lifestyle in mind. If he doesn't, it's going to catch up. Look, history has repeated itself. The more you push a person down, the more they raise up. And for people who use history to make the decisions that they do, you would think they would be smarter enough to understand that history is not on their side in this one. That's just my opinion.
Final thoughts. The first one, I want to give a shout out, or not necessarily a shout out, just to check this out. Just look her up, Kimberly Jones. She'll break down the whole rioting and she'll put it in perspective for people. Her name is Kimberly Jones. As a final thought, I want to say two things. First one, to everyone out here who thinks that the COVID-19 is a scam or a joke or is not real, it doesn't have to hit home for something to be real. You know, when it hits home, it's a little too late. People, please protect yourselves. Do what you need to do. Wash your hands for 10, 20 minutes. Whatever you need to do. Wear your mask. I'm begging you because I don't want to get infected.
Right.
Not because I don't want you. Because if you don't care about yourself, how can I can't care about you more than you care about yourself. So, with that said, just please mask up. Protect yourselves. Protect me. Protect the others.
Yeah.
The second one, as far as the Black Lives Matter and the state of our country, I just ask that we look at things on a different perspective and start to understand each other a little more. and that goes for blacks and whites. And I want us to understand that there's nothing wrong with us being different. But just know that we all come from the same thing. We're human beings. We deserve to be treated like human beings. And it's our rights to be treated like human beings. So if anything, protect our rights. Meaning everyone. Protect our rights. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, shout outs, Albany, New York, Cambridge, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Jeff Hager, thank you, to be uploaded late tonight. Jeff Hager, my man, we need to get through this COVID so we can go see Hall & Oates during Charlotte this summer. Let's pray, give us all baskets so that can happen, because I'm coming down there and we're going. DMV, where I live now, thank you, check us tonight. Candace Owens, you're a joke. You caught me on your friend's Facebook page. I didn't know who you were. You're a disgrace. Lisa Adams, whoever, if you can get in touch with her, please have her get in touch with me so we can pipe her in. You are a joke, Candace Owens. I can't wait to get you live next time. I'll be ready for you.
Peace out.
What's she do?